Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so if you've ever stood in the skincare aisle holding some tiny little box and feeling completely overwhelmed by a total sea of clean beauty buzzwords and chemical scare tactics, well, you are in the exact right place. Seriously, it kind of feels like you need a chemistry degree just to buy a basic moisturizer these days, right? But let's all just take a deep breath. Today, we're going to shift our mindset completely. We are moving away from feeling stressed out by marketing jargon, and instead, we're going to build a calm, wholesome understanding of cosmetic safety as a cohesive, logical system. By the end of this, you are going to have a totally new, super confident way of looking at your everyday routine.
So are salt, heat, and knives inherently dangerous? Think of beauty safety exactly like the rules of your kitchen. I mean, these tools aren't dangerous when they're just sitting quietly in a drawer or when they're being used correctly to cook up a delicious meal, but they can become risky, right? It totally depends on how much you use, how they're combined, and honestly, who is handling them. Well, a beauty product works the exact same way. It is literally never just about judging a single ingredient in total isolation.
And that brings us to this absolutely crucial point. Safety is not a slogan. It is the result of dose plus design plus use. You see, a beauty product isn't magic. It's a tiny, incredibly carefully balanced chemical system. Its safety relies entirely on how it is formulated in the lab, how it's packaged in the bottle, and, most importantly, how it's actually applied by you in the real world. Why does this matter so much? Because once you remember this equation, everything else starts to make perfect sense, and we can finally stop fearing individual ingredients.
Now, to get there, we need to make a massive mental shift. We have to understand the difference between danger and harm. Danger just represents pure potential. Harm, on the other hand, is what actually happens. So just because an isolated ingredient has the built-in potential to irritate, meaning it's danger, doesn't mean it's actually going to cause harm in a finished, beautifully formulated product. Confusing these two concepts? Yeah, that is where almost all beauty panic comes from.
To truly understand safety, we have got to balance the hazard against our exposure. A hazard is what something can do, like, the fact that boiling hot water can burn you. But exposure is how much of it actually reaches your body. Think of it like standing in a massive, heavy rainstorm. The rain is the hazard, for sure. But standing out there wrapped up in a thick, waterproof coat is completely different exposure than standing out there with absolutely nothing on. Dose and exposure literally change everything.
Okay, so here is our main anchor rule for today. I want you to keep this in the back of your mind as we become safety detectives. Risk appears when a hazard meets enough exposure in the wrong context. Notice that it's not about finding a bad ingredient to throw in the trash. It's about spotting when the hazard, the exposure, and the context are totally mismatched. Let's move over to formulation and see how this builds our entire system. Formulation is literally exactly like baking a cake. You can have flour, sugar, and eggs just sitting on your counter. Those exact same ingredients can result in a delicious, fluffy dessert or a totally flat, burned disaster, depending purely on the proportions and the method used. The ingredient list alone simply doesn't tell you how the final product is going to behave on your skin. And, the system doesn't stop at the liquid inside. Packaging is basically your product's protective thermos. A lot of people think a pump or a heavy opaque jar is just about looking pretty on your vanity, but it's actually a vital safety control. Just like hot soup in a sealed thermos behaves completely differently than soup left wide open on a counter to spoil, clever packaging protects your formula from light, air, and contamination. A simple pump, for instance, stops you from dipping dirty fingers into a jar every single morning, and that keeps the whole shebang safe and stable. A safe system also depends heavily on real-world context. Think of your body parts like different rooms in a house. You wouldn't use a harsh tile cleaner on a delicate fabric couch, right? Exactly. Just like you wouldn't use a really strong, thick body lotion right up near your delicate eyes. We also have to factor in the specific user, meaning your unique skin barrier and time. That beautiful cream you bought a year ago? Perfectly safe then. But it kind of becomes risky if it's been stored in a hot, steamy bathroom and kept way past its expiration date.
Section 1. Decoding the label. Your detective's clue map. Let's get right into it.
We so often treat the ingredient list like a court sentence, don't we? Like if a scary-sounding chemical is listed, boom, the product must be guilty. But the ingredient list is actually an incomplete clue. It tells you who is in the room, but not who is doing what. It doesn't show you the exact amounts or the soothing buffers, or how the formulation method completely changed how those ingredients behave.
Having said that, order matters immensely. Ingredients are listed in descending order, so that number one spot, it gives you a really good structural sense of the product. It's much like knowing a sandwich is mostly bread and tomato if those two things are listed first. If water is first, it's water-based. If oils are first, it's a lot richer and heavier. Paying attention to those top few ingredients really helps you see the basic skeleton of the formula.
Now let's clear up a massive misconception. Inactive ingredients are not unimportant fillers that are just there to take up space. Actually, scratch that. They are the critical system controls. They preserve the formula. Without them, your favorite expensive serum could literally grow dangerous mold or bacteria in a matter of weeks. Gross, right? They also keep the texture smooth so it spreads evenly, and they buffer the active ingredients to bring down irritation. Without these unsung heroes, your product would be highly unstable and potentially super unsafe for your skin.
We constantly see terms like chemical-free or 100% natural plastered on bottles. But as newly minted safety detectives, we now know these are mostly just marketing illusions. Literally everything around us, including the water we drink and the air we breathe, is made of chemicals. And natural substances, like highly concentrated essential oils or botanical extracts, can still be incredibly irritating and cause severe allergic reactions if the dose and design are wrong. Natural definitely does not automatically mean safe.
So instead of going on a witch hunt for scary, isolated words on the back of the box, you should be looking for red flag mismatches. A mismatch is when the product's design just doesn't fit how you intend to use it. Come on, we've all been guilty of this. Using a super strong exfoliant every single day until our skin literally hurts, or applying heavy fragrance on an already compromised skin barrier, or spraying hairspray way too close to our eyes. The real danger lies in the mismatch, not a single ingredient. So instead of panicking over one word, look at the whole picture. A product label is this brilliant, completely interconnected map of safety if you know how to read it. The product claim tells you the intended job. The target use area tells you where it belongs, because, again, different areas of your skin have very different sensitivities. The ingredient list reveals the raw materials, but the packaging tells you how the product is protected from contamination. And finally, the shelf life symbol tells you exactly how long that safety is actually reliable over time. It's just pure logic. So, it all comes full circle back to our core anchor. Risk appears when a hazard meets enough exposure in the wrong context. I love this because it proves, once and for all, that safety is always comparative, it's always contextual, and it is never, ever about a single ingredient just floating in a vacuum. You've made a massive mental shift today. You are no longer relying on vibes, marketing fears, or front-of-box promises. You have gained the calm, cool confidence to look right past those slogans and see the actual science of the system at work. You, my friend, are officially a safety reader.
I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought to test out your new detective skills. When you go look at your own bathroom shelf tonight, ask yourself, what is each product actually designed to do? And what variables, like how you store it or where you apply it, could interfere with that goal? How are you going to view your own daily routine differently now that you truly understand the system? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you next time.